sometimes we overshadow them, but this is what it is. So I'll allow my colleagues present today to say who they are in the area of sports and social innovation, and thereafter I will invite Dr. Thiri to share with us briefly his research on what sports and leadership has been. So please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Colin Sotieno, and it's my pleasure to be here. I'm the founding CEO of Mukuru Shujaa, an organization that creates positive experiences for children so that we can be able to advance their education outcomes, but using football for good. So it comes from my childhood story about the childhood stories that are able to influence the education outcomes of children. Because most of us, if you look at our country today, we are always busy about what happens within school, the quality of the teacher who is there, and the resources. But you don't look at what is it that happens outside the school gate. Now, what happens outside the school gate always affects the performance of children within school. So I grew up with my father, who was always living far away from home. During this time in the village growing up, it was always like your father is the strongest person that you can know. And then it happened that there was a tribal conflict around. So most of the nights I would go to sleep crying. I was very lonely. This affected my behavior and also performance. So I repeated kindergarten twice. And then one day my father gifted me a ball. This ball ensured that the whole village was following me, because initially we were using balls that were made out of the sisal strings and the polythene bags. This changed everything, because the following year was number 12 and I was promoted to the next grade. So looking back, our school really did not change. Our teacher did not change. They were not taken for any capacity development. But then automatically, I noticed that my grades had already improved. Moving forward, I served in Mukuru kwa Jenga slums.
Collins,
yes.
I'll come back to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll come back to that in the next level. But that's great introduction of who you are, and especially your childhood experiences that has informed what you are doing in Mukuru kwa Njenga. Yeah. And that will be a next conversation. Hold it there.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Boniface Githaiga. I am a leadership development coach, a teens coach, and a counseling psychologist. I'm the founding director at Sign Impact Africa. It's a teen mentorship organization that changes pain into purpose, using the power of play into power through teen counseling, teen mentorship, educational adventure, and facilitating teens to get to know themselves. And this also comes from a story. In 2007, I was diagnosed with a heart condition that I had to be injected every month for me to survive. And this came with a lot of stigmatization in the community. And so I resorted to drug and substance abuse. And many people looked at me as someone who has gone astray. But there was this one teacher, a counseling psychology teacher, who took me and saw the drug and substance abuse, the resort to drug, not as a problem, but actually as a solution to a problem I had, which was stigmatization. He embraced me, took me into sports, and that is where I was now transformed into expressing myself and becoming the person I am today. And that is why I started the organization. I am that teacher. I'm a teacher by profession and a counseling psychologist. So I ended up being that teacher for other people.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm David Thiru, and I'm a lecturer at St. Paul's University. My background is in sports for development, because many years ago, I was a founding member of Mathare Youth Sports Association as a player. In fact, when it started, I was the best player and sportsman those days. And it was a big deal then. And later, I actually worked, I became a practitioner, because I ended up coming back to MISA as an employee, as a finance manager. And later, by the time I left, I was the CEO of MISA, Mathare Youth Sports Association. And later, I worked for FIFA as program leader for Africa in one of another sports for development program. And then I now moved to academia, because I really felt there was a need to bring out this story of sports, how sports is influencing social change. And that's what I'll talk about. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon once more. My name is Robin Muremi Karani. I am an advocate of the High Court by profession. I lead an organization called Ujana na Ujuzi. It's a community-based organization for the young people. And part of my work involves policy analysis, policy influencing, and advocacy. And through this work that we have been doing, we came about a problem that has been really hurting the communities around Nairobi, and mostly the young people, being extrajudicial killings. So I used to be a player myself, and I stopped playing to focus on my studies. But my coach was a victim of extrajudicial killings in 2022. And in my quest to seek justice for him, I ended up forming a football team in his honor, and to bring more young people out of that life or those dangers of extrajudicial killings and give them something else to do and hopefully create wealth through the talents that they have. So that is how I ended up as, I would say, an ambassador for sports, and left the office to come and engage with the young people fully. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. And that's the introduction. That's who they are. What is one thing coming out of the introduction? What is something that you have noticed about the introduction? What is coming out?
Sports is actually a tool for social change, and the speakers themselves are passionate about it because it's not something that you take being forced. It comes from within. That's what stands out.
Thank you. Someone else wants to say something? Yes, please. What's in that introduction? What caught your attention?
The personal stories, because of which you have found the meaning around sports. I think it's very striking.
Thank you. Yes. You want to say something?
If I will say, maybe how relatable the stories are for every young man. I think if you bring young boys, every boy maybe from the hood, the story can begin from that line. Actually, I have a story of Maisa. He's my neighbor. Just there at my door. My door.
It's at the back here. Sister, help me. There are more stories to come,
Every one of them was a player. Everyone. Yeah. Starting from the first one to the last one. Every one of them at least played football. Yeah.
Thank you. They played some sports, eh?
Yeah, they played
Sister,
sports.
you want to say something? Thank you. Yeah. You want to say something, please?
Yeah, I can just add that their stories are connected to a certain cause. What they are doing is connected to a certain cause. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I add something? Yes, sir.
And for me, I can add to say that sports, not only for the stories, also it can be a business, because when youth, they use their talent, they can be an entrepreneur. It's a business part.
Business part. Thank you so much for that feedback. I want us now to get some research that was done by Dr. Thiru, and who was also a great person at MISA. He did a lot of stuff there. And that's just to help us to understand the sport as an innovation. What happened? So I'll give him in the next 10 minutes or so, he'll be able to support.
Thank you, Gishuki. I worked with Gishuki also at that time. So basically, the research I did was, I called it the antecedents and outcomes of empowering leadership. And there's a background to this. There's a lot of scholars who have questioned the influence of sports for development. Is it real? Does it really bring about social change? And we had agreed, and I will make like a general statement that sports for development is a social innovation by itself. Basically what it is, just in simple terms, you bring the youth or the youth together using sports. Sports is what brings everyone together. It's the glue. And then on top of it, you add some social activity, whatever you want to add, environmental issue, and I think tomorrow you'll hear about entrepreneurship. So that is the innovation, the sports innovation, that what we are calling sports for development, okay? And it has become very popular. Now it's very, very well known, and some of the outcomes are these ones, things to do with health, learning, and you'll hear from my colleagues here. And of course, I was more focused about empowerment, and you've seen it has been adopted by the United Nations. They even have a Sports for Development Day, you know, and an office for it. FIFA, all these big organizations. And there's scholars who have said there's no empirical evidence to support what we claim we are doing and the influence we are having in our communities. And so that was one of the quests that I had. And some of these guys, like Coulter is someone I know well, and he's asking for robust evidence. He wants to see robust evidence that this sports for development or sports for social innovation actually does work. And someone else here asked for which leadership style is the best for sports for development organizations. And I am like, at St. Paul's, I'm in the leadership department because my PhD is in organizational leadership. So my study kind of suggests, as you've seen from the topic, that's what we call empowering leadership, you know, works. And so others have asked questions, the effectiveness, the theme continues. This area is largely untheorized. We need authentic development. That's another issue that we have to deal with as sports for development practitioners, and you know I was a practitioner. Recently, when I was doing my study with an organization called MTG, Moving the Goalposts in Kilifi, it's a big one. And the CEO was telling me they were in a forum where two organizations dealing with girls' issues. And they get like a good amount of money, 60 million a year or something. And she was being asked, for this one, these other organizations, they were building schools, they have structures, they have trainings for sewing and all those things. And she has many, many girls participating in activities every weekend and getting trainings and getting all these things, issues to do with the violence or whatever. They are looking at HIV and AIDS. So what is we want to see, what difference, how can you justify this huge expenditure? And I think maybe my research should at least help bridge that gap, yeah? So just in case somebody is interested to know, empowering leadership is a leadership style that promotes self-determination and it eliminates powerlessness, you know. So we say for you to have to empower your team, you need those three components. And this works with teams very well. Empower, I won't go into the technicalities of it, but basically it's people leading each other as teams, as part of the team, getting influence as part of the team, individual to individual, and a coach within the team, you know, the influence that they have. Yeah? You can hear our friend here was influenced by the coach, the fact that it was an unfortunate situation, but you can see the impact the coach had on his life, yeah? Even in his death. So I will just kind of skip this and just go to, this is how my work is organized. There is what I'm calling antecedents, and I'm saying that for you to really have proper influence or impact within sports for development, you need active members. So I was looking at members who have been there for at least 5 years in that organization continuously, so that we can say they've actually been influenced. Yeah? And then they have to have active membership, means they participate regularly. And in sports for development, it is not like a one-off thing during holidays. These kids train during the week. They have a match over the weekend, so it's a continuous thing. And then there's what we call perceptions of organizational justice. When we run our organizations in a fair way, rules are clear, everything, and is done in a proper, structured way, then, and then what I call divergent thinking, allowing the youth to just be free to express their views. And then life satisfaction is a little bit outside, but it's just assessing how they perceive, how satisfied they are within life, just by themselves. That has nothing to do with the organization. Empowering leadership, I was looking at those three things. And then outcomes, I'm saying that sports for development brings organizational citizen behavior, responsible citizens, People will not throw garbage out of the window of the bus. And then self-efficacy, aspirations, rise, self-esteem, organizational perceived performance, and community psychological empowerment. So these two are for the organizations, the lower ones. The other two are for the individuals. And basically, that is the framework I used. And the kind of, I looked at, this is the population I interviewed. The returns were quite high because we did, like, we were working to people individually, yeah? Yeah. Sorry? You want to screenshot the other one? Oh, yeah, you can screenshot this, no problem. I think it's available online, I think. Yeah, you should be able to get it, yeah. The full research, yeah. Yeah, just Google my name, it should be accessible. Yeah. The presentation? Okay, take a shot. 300 pages.
You know how, criminal it is to request a shortcut research.
No, it's a summary they're looking for. So I'm looking at, I'm coming to, okay, this is the number. We did a good job because we tried to interview people directly. So we were randomly picking the respondents, but we had assistants who would give them and wait for them. So that's why the returns are so high. We didn't tell them to go and fill and then return tomorrow. Yeah? And largely because this is like, the ladies are many, because Mombasa, moving the goalposts is an all-female organization. But of course, I can always dissect and separate the respondents later. But this was all put together. And the ages were all over 18, and you can see, basically I was looking at people looking back, the influence of those organizations, Sports for Development, how they influence their life. And this is how I think it reflects our societies, largely because these communities are from poor settings. So you can see the kind of numbers in terms of education. The highest is KCSE, which is encouraging to see, of course. Yeah. So I'm looking for this one that summarizes the findings. And basically what I was saying is active membership has a significant influence on the performance of. So if you run a sports for development organization and you have active members, not just people who appear once, but they're actively involved for over a period of time, then you can see those outcomes that we mentioned, self-efficacy, self-esteem, and those are exhibited in their lives. Yeah? The second one is perceptions of organizational justice. The organization has to be seen. The members have to feel that the way things are done within that organization is fair, it's organized, it's clear, it's straightforward, and that is another antecedent. And then, of course, in the middle of it is the style of leadership, which is empowering leadership. And that is the leadership, the influence is coming from the team members as a team. It's coming from their coaches. So between the youth as a team, they are influencing each other. And the coaches have a big part. There was the other aspect of individual to individual. It doesn't seem to be so strong. And I was wondering why that is. Maybe you can do more research. My assertion is all these young people are from poor settings, and they basically, as individuals, may not really be able to be very good at influencing the other one directly. But as a team, these are very powerful influence, empowering influence. Divergent thinking, which is a new area of study where people are just allowing people to think differently and to have their different opinion also came out strongly. And because that's what happens in sports for development organizations. A lot of freedom for the youth to speak up and to say what they want. I think these guys can confirm that. And then empowering leadership itself also has an influence, as I've mentioned those two aspects, team leadership and leadership within the team, that is the coach. Yeah. Finally, we can say that the finding, I agree with Coulter that it is not the football itself, it's not bouncing the ball and playing and running around then saying we have social change, no. It is what you add to the fact that these guys are coming together. What are you now bringing in to help? What issues are you raising? And what are you bringing to teach them? Because they will come. They won't mind to learn from you, but they won't. If you tell them there's no football, but we are coming to train you about development, nobody will see no one, yeah? Yeah, but then if you bounce the ball, they will come and they will listen to you because they know at the end of the day they will still play, yeah? And the argument is that football should not be those cosmetic footballs, or it should be serious competitive football. That's what keeps the people engaged. They need to win. You know, there's this craze of just participating. No, this is serious participation, winning, and all that is an aspect. And so that is the key point. It is not just sports, it is what you add to the sports. And that's what sports and development organizations do. So my recommendation is, how many minutes? Is it over? I'm done? My time? 2 minutes, okay. The recommendation is that, of course, active membership should be encouraged, organizational justice, have policies that allow divergent thinking. You can't allow that the youth be allowed to think in a different way. Life satisfaction factors can be encouraged, and empowering leadership approach should be adopted. So contribution to knowledge, that's, okay. Empowering leadership has significant influence on outcomes, you know, that we talked about, those self-efficacy, self-esteem, and organizational citizen behavior, organizational psychological. You know, there is also the sports for development also, as part of the innovation, it does help individuals, but also it helps the community psychologically, yeah? I'm from Maisa, and I grew up in Mathare, went to, I was born right next to Mathare, so my interaction there, you could see how that community was transformed psychologically. With all this fame, all of their children winning things and being famous and being, so it's not the same community. So it's also, sports for development also transforms communities. So and then lastly, I would say that maybe we can do some more research in this area. Definitely there's need for more, just to compare. Sometimes I always want, we can do a research comparing someone who, like me, who has gone through a sports for development organization, and another one, maybe a sibling who never did it, and see whether we can actually say that there's a difference. Yeah? So that's why I feel this space I'm in now is important, that we go there and just confirm this assertion, even though we know it's been recognized, but we need to do it from the perspective of scholars. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Just turn next to the person next to you. Just ask him or her, what was so inspiring from this presentation? What did you discover? What is your moment? What is your aha moment? Wow, this one? Who is next to you? I can listen to you. I can listen to you.
You can listen to me. Thank you.
Yes. What was your aha moment?
Maybe that part of the sport itself. For example, when you say the ball itself does not change, but rather what you bring in. I feel like the statement is not 100% true.
Yes. There's still more to be done.
In that statement, I believe the ball itself also has some change. There's leadership change because the captains, the anger management, the communication skills, they are in the board itself.
I want to find out further in the conversation from this group. No, it's part of the contribution because I just want to hear what are the others saying about the same. Yeah, let's hear from the practitioners.
But I like the way he's done the study and it's nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I know if I give an extra 30 seconds, you might want to say, twende kiwanjani tukacheze. All right, thank you. Thank you. I know there's further more. Tomorrow we still have more time to discuss even deeper into that. But what came out of your conversation? What was the moment? It's nice to hear the moment that you shared with your colleague before I invite the panelists also to share what is on the ground, what is in Mukuru kwa Njenga, what is in Sign Impact Africa, across Africa, what is in Kahawa West and the Roysambu region, what's happening there. So, but let me come back to you first. Any sharing? Just maybe 2 people?
Okay, we were a collective of 3 here. And let me just summarize. We talked about how the findings were actually being informed by ladies, yet there's a stereotype that most people who participate are men in sports. A second aha moment for us was how this research is tailored on sports, but it's holistic, thinking about other issues in the community that can be solved using sports. And I think that's a summary for the 3 respondents that we had with our discussion. Yeah.
Wow. The last other person who might want to say something? Good. Sorry, cameraman, we'll deal with the sports people.
They move a lot.
They move a lot.
Yeah, for us, actually, it was shared because, interestingly, over lunch, we were just discussing about how there is a need for more data, as you have said, in terms of the knowledge gap, even having conversations and people asking you for the numbers to prove what you're saying. So the sort of the aha moment for us, which was shared, was that this is a good point in terms of starting point in terms of getting knowledge and empowering even people who are conversing about sport for development or sport and development as a reference point for conversations we are having with people who are outside of the field and who want to see numbers. And also a challenge for us to consciously collect information as we do our activities to form that knowledge base that will help all of us.
Good afternoon, everyone.
You have the ball now?
Yes, I have the ball. I won't eat it. Okay, so for us, my colleague here was actually ahead by the fact that it's just not about sports. So it's the plus of sports in it. And for me, I think I am excited to just hear a scholar. Okay, I know there are very few who have done, Kenyan scholars who have actually done research around this space. So much more is needed. I'm also from KU in the Department of Sports and Recreation. I lecture there. So this is good. And it's nice to just know that we have more data that probably we didn't even know about. So that's quite good.
I'll tell you that, is it Professor Boyd and Professor Onyuera were very instrumental when I was at MISA. They were advisors in our academy research, in all our development work. So we have that KU connection.
Yes, but they're not really strong on sports for development. So that's why I'm happy that you're there.
They're the only ones who are there.
No, we are in sports, but we don't, no. We don't look at sports like this. So this is really exciting for me.
Actually, what I'm saying is
it's exciting.
The closest we could get from scholars to sports and development was KU Sports Science Department. You know, Mike Boyd, who was commissioner in sports. But they were not really.
It was not,
they
yeah.
were helpful.
So this is good. No, that's the haha for me. That it's actually here. So let's keep it up. Yes, thank you.
You pass the ball?
To you, back to you.
Yes, this ball is bouncing a lot in this this half of the field is busier. Good.
Thank you. For us, we think it's a wonderful research, very important. And
we were talking, I think we were of the same mind, appreciating that competition is important because it puts standard on the sport, forces people to feel that they are engaged in something of a good level. I'm a teacher. I have a little bit of a problem with competition because of exclusion. When I went to school, as you can see, I'm a few years old. When I went to school, we all played, you know. Then when I came around to be a teacher, I realized we are making teams for competition, and other people are sitting on the side watching, and they are really sad. I am also the mother of a sports scientist, graduate of KU, and I am also puzzled by our society does not seem to realize how important it is to create sports spaces and sports opportunities for all the children. I know our education system is under review and all that, but the whole thing of competition, the puzzlement, because we do need the competition for the standard, but how do we keep everyone included? Because exclusion is a killer. Yeah, and
you'll come shortly. Shortly, yeah.
He has a burning answer.
You have a burning answer.
He has a burning answer.
You see, when the coach takes...
Basically, sports for development programs, they are mass sports organization. Yes, the competition is there, but it's open to all. It's not about that you have to be good. It's not a it is not about... It's a competition, yes, but it's a mass program. It's open to everyone. So what happens? 10 of us, we can form a team, we come, we register. You get? So you can't say there's exclusion in that sense because you're allowed to play. You'll be beaten by the other good teams if someone decides to form a strong one, but you will play. You get? You will participate. So that's the whole idea of sports for development. There's no exclusion. It's very inclusive. It's not about, the games themselves are competitive.
So do you see it as a program that could be inclusive for all our youth?
It is inclusive in that sense. Nobody is excluded. In fact, in fact, we even used to have a disability program also on the side, yeah, where there was competition, not competition, but there was sports program for disability. So it's open for everyone as long as you meet the criteria. And the criteria is collecting the form, filling it, and returning it, you know, within the stipulated time. And then within the competition is also bad because we get those talented ones. They also are identified. So there's win-win in every aspect, but there's no exclusion in the sense of you can't play.
Thank you. I know I'll come back to your... We'll still come back to that important conversation around making in teams for competition. But what type of competition does sport for development offer? And that's the most diverse conversation. But let me come back to Collins of Mukuru Shujaa. Responding to what your name was, sorry, madam. Your name? Wairimo, yes. Wairimo is bringing a very interesting conversation, and that relates a lot to your work in school. Please share with us, how do you make it inclusive, and how do you make sure that it has an outcome, not just competition?
Yeah, thank you so much. That was an interesting one because we look at football like a vehicle. It's a method, just a way to reach somewhere. And then football to us is like school of life. So what we do technically, we provide a safe, conducive space where we have locally sourced coaches who come in to support children through structured and unstructured football. Structured is where there's instruction, do this, do that. Occasionally the unstructured one that we used to do a long time ago that we also benefited from, we just allow them to just play. But what is the plus that we bring along? We know that these children live in a community where there's gang recruitment, there's lawlessness, there's a lot of drug and substance abuse. So we bring in adults through organizations like AMREF, who are able to mentor and speak to these children so that they can make the right choices, regardless of the environment where they grow from. So in the process of doing this, these children are gaining the right mindset and attitudes towards learning. So we prepare them for the classroom. Another intervention that we do is that we bring on parents. So we have family festivals. So during these sessions, these parents are able to interact with the children, learn more about what we are doing, and emphasize the aspect of the positive childhood experiences that they need to have. So, Mr. Gishuki, that is the plus that we bring along.
Thank you. Thank you for that addition in terms of what you do in schools and what you bring to the parents of that particular child, how do you engage them more to participate? Maybe I come back to you, Bonfires. Inside Impact Africa, we've talked a lot about Sports Plus. What is it that you really add to make it more inclusive, to make it more impactful?
All right. I think I'll begin from the strategy of Sign Impact Africa, and we have divided the strategies into 7 Ps. So just to take you through the Ps to make you understand as well. The first 2 Ps is pain, to change pain to purpose. And just from my story, there was a lot of pain, there was a lot of stigmatization, there was drug and substance abuse. But how do you change that to now purpose? I am here advocating for teenagers who are also going through the same, and many older generation do not really understand what they are going through. So that is pain to purpose. But we are harnessing the power of play to power. We are using play, and that is sports now, where sports comes in, and not just football, but every other sport, whereby we change it to power. Through the interactions in sports, in football, just as he has said, then how do we transform it to power? They get a chance to interact with each other. They get a chance to learn from each other. They get a chance to know that I am hurt. I have trauma. Why? Because hurt people hurt people. So when you are with other people, that's where you know, oh, so I have a problem. Then you have systems of accountability that are able to show you, hey, I have a problem here, I need to learn. So how do we then harness the power of play to power? And when we change play to power, it comes with the power to, one, inform. To inform me that, hey, I have a problem, I have a trauma that I need to heal from. I need to understand myself. I need to know my purpose. Number 2, it has the power to conform. Number 1, to inform. Number 2, to conform. That even though I had a problem, I resorted to drug and substance abuse, but this really is not a solution. Actually, it is bringing more trouble than a solution. So what is the solution then? That is the skills that comes with the power of play. You're able to get the solutions, you're able to get the skills, the attitude, the values, the virtues from sports itself. And lastly now, after you have conformed now to what you want to be or what you see yourself as, then you are able to transform yourself and transform the society. And that is what I am doing right now. Our outcome is, again, 3 Ps. That is 1, peace. Peace in terms of mental health, that I know I had a trouble or I had a problem, but now I am healed. Healed people heal people. I am now able to heal others. Number 2, I am able to transform the society as well and know that what I'm doing came from pain, but I'm changing this pain to purpose. So the outcome is, number 1, peace. Number 2, progress. How do I use this talent of mine to transform myself psychologically, to transform myself financially, and also socially, to get to meet other people, because I believe in the power of relationships. Your network is your net worth. And I believe whatever money can buy, relationships can. So if I'm able to heal myself and get to interact with other people and transform other people, then I'm also able to also benefit from them. And lastly, peace, purpose, progress, that I am able to progress myself and I'm able to progress and transform the society. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bonfire, for that passionate. And that's where the real aspect of the sport dealing with the software. Sport softens our emotions. And sometimes you might not see that. You might see the ball rolling. And maybe as we discussed earlier, it's not the rolling ball, it's the emotional rolling. But let's come back to my good friend, Murimi. In Kahawa, Roysambu, what is the plus you've added to your sports in that region?
Okay, mine would have to carry a lot of things, but I want to narrow it to something we can all relate to. Now, growing up, our teachers used to tell us that an idle mind is the devil's workshop. Now we have a problem, me being in the legal justice system, I meet with or I interact with a lot of criminal activities and deaths. So I can report that from my class of, my primary class that I went to school with, half of them are dead. And it's all based on extrajudicial killings. So what happens, and most people don't realize, that in our areas, we have a certain police officer who has been assigned to your area and knows all the families and all the criminals in that area. And he comes to your place, he never goes to court. He comes to your place and gives you a warning. So a warning is like anaweza kuja nyumbani and he gives fare to your parents to send you to up country. And he tells you that he should not meet you in Nairobi again. So the moment he meets you in Nairobi again, you are dead. And now the problem happens, the coach that I was speaking of, is a football coach. IPOA reports that in Nairobi, over 20 young people are shot dead by police every year. He happens to be in those statistics. And his only problem was that he had a nephew who had been given the warning, but he's a good football player. So he invited his nephew to play a football game, a tournament. Once it was over, they passed by somewhere to watch another football game from the European leagues, and they went home around midnight. And they met with our police officer. So they had to go, all of them. And it is something that is recurrent in our area. So the first thing that we try to do is to make sure that we keep these young boys so engaged that they don't have time to engage in these criminal activities. That's the first point of interaction. If I bounce a ball, they will come to me. But at the moment I stop or I put that ball in the store, then I am not sure what they will be doing out there. So rather than just engage them with just playing, we engage them in mentorship activities. Gishuki here will tell you that I used to nag him to come to the games and talk to them, not for anything else, but for just that purpose of knowing that there's more to it than just football. Then number two, in my capacity now as a lawyer and as a person who can give civic education, I use this opportunity when people are around to explain things that seem complex to small things, to try to engage them and show them like the police doesn't have to be an enemy. I bring police officers to come and watch the game and talk to my players, just for that point of just showing that we can actually interact. What is our point of conflict? How can we solve them? How can we solve that? Now, in 2022, the UN was meeting in New York, and they noticed that we are just 8 years away from 2030, and we have only achieved 11% of the SDGs. So they passed an initiative called Football for the Goals, which is a way of using football to advocate and to campaign for SDGs. So from that initiative, we formed our team as an SDG project. Now we campaign for SDG 16, which is on peace, justice, and strong institutions. And it is a way of ensuring that we reduce the number of young people who are victims of extrajudicial killings. Now, from that engagement under the Football for Goals initiative, we not only get to inform everyone around or the community or people watching football on the SDG itself, we also get to train our young people, and we also get to train as management. Now, from picking up from what Dr. here has brought as research, now we try to engage as a management, including the coaches, that we bring coaches, we make our players, some of our players who played for us last season are coaches right now. And we try to incorporate them in our management to be the ones to be our ambassadors for this whole engagement. I have a player who we rescued from a mob. He was engaging in thieving and they beat him up so bad he almost died. But one thing we all knew and everyone knew could relate at home is that he's a very good football player. So that's where we got him from. And we try to use him as an ambassador. Even when we have interactions. We've planted trees at the police station. When we try to do all those activities, we try to make sure that these are the people you will see on the first face, because they can tell you that story of, I have come to realize I am the one creating this barrier with the police officer. If I was actually not engaging in this, then maybe we would be talking of different. A police officer should be helping me recover my lost ID or something of the sort, but not trying to get me back to my maker, to return me to my maker. So I would say our pluses have been a lot, but we try to make every step count. One of the things that we engaged on so much was branding and making ourselves visible. And the point of all that was to try and make these young people and these players visible. So one thing that you have to realize with a criminal or a person engaged in criminal activities, he doesn't like to be on the limelight. But if you keep them in a team that is always on the limelight, that you're trying to engage in tournaments, you have engagements with the community leadership and all that, his face will be all over. So it will be hard for him actually to engage in any criminal activities. The little time that he has to engage in that criminal activity, we have him training. So at the end of the day, by the time I'm finishing, the one thing that I can do is try to make what my mom here was speaking about, of making the team a business idea, that it can create something for the young people. And from creating something for the young people, once he comes and plays, when he comes and engages with mentors and all that, he doesn't go home empty-handed. We try to create something. You will realize a lot when you engage in football or in any sports, that there's a lot of economy or market that happens around just the ball rolling. Anytime you go to a field, and I will challenge any of you to go to a ground, anytime you will go to a field, you will find someone selling ice pops, you will find someone selling njugu, you will find someone selling bananas, because bananas is the energy food for players. That's the only thing they can eat when the game is going on. You'll find those things that are actually very unique to the sports. And if you can engage your teams or your team or your young people to revolve around those economic activities, then little by little they will start appreciating coming to the game rather than going out and hanging out and doing criminal activities.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We are sports people, and sports are so much. It sparks a lot of emotions, eh? Yeah. A burning reaction. Yes, a burning reaction.
Yes. The first one was on Daktari in your study. Actually, I'm a psychologist from Kenyatta University, so I liked the connections. So actually, the playing itself should be impactful, even before adding anything else. The emotional controls, the communication skills, and leadership skills, the teamwork. So actually, the playing itself, actually, if invested well, should develop someone. That's why in the professional football, you see leaders, because then they're developed in the game. Now, another one that is very opposite is that I'm from Huruma, the home of Maisa, and I stopped playing football. I actually abandoned football, literally, so that I can pursue education. Let me tell you the reality. And I would watch football from our Gorofa, naangalia hivi. I feel like I should be there, but I know what I will get there. Now, I'm saying the truth. Because our ground was a breeding ground for hardcore criminals. And I think when you go Google right now, you'll hear hardcore criminals and you'll hear stories of the Huruma people who are all in sports, unfortunately. All in sports. And I used to be there, but unfortunately we used to be asked to lie down, and the police with guns and asking us, Next time I see you here, run. We run. You know Huruma, the ground, eh? So we were suffering a lot. I witnessed a lot of killings because of being close to the team. I saw my first gun because of being in the team. The first illegal gun. I saw by being in the team. I actually one day escaped a crime because of being with team members. They were almost robbing, and I didn't know we were robbing. Then I said, Jesus Christ, I ran away because I was with them. And even up to now, I have grown into a leader, and I was even, as recent as last month, advocating we shut the Huruma ground. Yes, we even went to the police. We say, shut it for some time so that we reset our brains. Because why? That ground, if you come to Huruma, don't dare pass near Huruma grounds. And this, I'm not lying. You should know that. So this is the challenge is that there's this another impact that has become. I quit. I didn't. My cousin continued. He did not become a thief anyway. That's a good guy. But I quit. I saw the very good player shot dead. It was called King. We call him King Tabs. If you go in Huruma grounds, we have written King Tabs. He's a legend in terms of extrajudicial killings. We have even a court case with Maisa. We rioted. But you know what happened? King Tabs was promising, but the field was never going to allow him. The coaches, quality of the people who you are calling mentors, unfortunately, is wanting. The people we are exposed to are really wanting. Other than ndizi kuuzwa and njugu kuuzwa, also bangi zinauzwa. The first trial of drugs is likely to come from your team members. It did for me. It came from my team members. I went to my high school, Aquinas High School, popular with football again, Jesus Christ. In parade ground, the principal would always say, football team, what is your problem? Because again, we became that. So there's that angle that I think we really need to discuss and understand, because in Eastlands, or in the part of Nairobi here, I'm talking about Kenya, Eastlands, sports has been invested in as part of social change. However, why is crime still high? There is a reason. There's something we are not doing right. There's something we are not, despite that it is the tool that is being used. Why is it that it's the place where politicians will invest in getting violent people? It is still in sports. I am a politician, so I get from that football team. Jesus Christ.
It was a hot reaction. It was a hot reaction. No. Actually, we are here for that purpose. And I think that's the conversation, is it? Because it is not a one-fit-all. There's quite a lot of conversation and approaches and the realities that we have. I was in Egypt some times ago, and you realize, and you go to South Africa, I was in Cape Town, you also notice how much initiatives are working in there and how much sports alone cannot solve the crisis. But I love the honesty. I love the fact that the field, as you said earlier on, is not a school of life, but also it could be, a school of other things, that also happen alongside. So we are not living in a vacuum. So, and I think that's the question. And that's why today, as we almost just come to the closure, is just to think about, too, that sports will help soften the grounds. And we, the whole of this afternoon, we have not even talked about the issues of social innovation, is it? I mean in terms of social economy, yet that will be for tomorrow. Tomorrow talk about now the social and the economy and how it's working in that space. But for today, we are saying is sports programming and the way we use sport for social transformation, is it working? What is the evidence? What are some of the statistics that we can use? That's sort of what we are trying to raise up here. And because I have shorter time, sorry, gentlemen and ladies.
I'm just thinking that I should not go unresponded to.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'll be coming back to you, Dr. Ari, for the final parting shots, as we also respond to the number of factors that are also there. But I see you, Festus. Are you a burning reaction because we have only 5 minutes to go? Oh, but
Thank you so much, my colleague. This guy is my colleague. I'm an alumnus of AQ, Aquinas High School. So what he's talking about is some facts based on it. But I want us to, first of all, draw some good lines. That sports in general is not meant for social transformation. There's sports that is elite competition. It's just sports. You can go kick a ball and score a goal and win an award and go away. But in this case, we're talking about sports for social change or transformation that is very intentional in its activities. Very intentional that this is the kind of outcome that you expect in this. So even the community mentor coaches talking about are prepared before they are sent to these centers. So they become role models, they become mentors, and they are first of all trained to be such. So when you see people play soccer and they still do these other things like vices, it is because they are not in the field of sports for social transformation. They are in the field of soccer as a football for game. These are two different industries. These are two different, fields. So those who come to the field of social transformation have spoken from their internal, like my colleague was talking about, the healer can now heal others. The lawyer was saying the police now should be our friend because you can initiate meaningful discussion and dialogue with them to build a relationship. We don't run away when we see them. But the soccer in itself, general, without transformation or social inclusion, is a platform of getting illegal guns. You can get your first time to test Bangi because people meet from different backgrounds, which is why we must draw these lines between sport as sport and sport for social transformation. I hope this makes sense.
There's a warning response,
Yeah.
Allow me to yes, that's a response. Thank you. So allow me to just have a parting shot because then we need to look at the last minutes. And one of the questions as you do your parting shot is to look at, can sport for development fuel Africa's socio-economy? Can sport for development fuel Africa's economy, and especially socio-economy? As you make your way in your last remarks, then please respond to that. And each of you has a minute before we close. Let me begin closer to me.
Yes, it is true that sports can be able to fuel social economy. From the basic part is that we give jobs to the coaches who live in this particular community, so we create jobs to them. Also, there are businesses like us. There is a business within the community that employs women to make balls, synthetic balls. So we normally take our orders from there and the jerseys. So we have created jobs for these particular people, the people who repair for us the balls in that particular community. And also, sports instills in people the right mindset, the growth mindset, so that they can be able to shift. And I think Daktari talked about something around divergent thinking. Like one of the alumni of our teams is also the coach, currently the head coach. He went on and started a business that gives him money. But apart from that money going to his pockets and to support his life in this particular community, he's a FOFO leaver. Sometimes he chips in that money to help us within the team. So a parting shot for me, well, I have some background in education. Before a child can be able to learn, they ask themselves two key questions. Am I safe? Am I loved? But in the communities where we serve, like Mukuru kwa Njenga, where most families are dysfunctional, and the environment where they live is not very favorable for their childhood development, these children go to school and prepare to learn. So while most of our policies are focused within the school compound, we leave most of our children out and not realizing their full potential. And that is what Mukuru Shujaa does. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll pick it up from the three questions. Am I safe? Am I loved? And sports has a way of creating trust. And I think for you to be a social entrepreneur, it means you need to have some influence. And for you to influence people, I'll break it down into 3 C's. Number 1, you need to build character. And character is built in the game, just as many of us have said that I developed my discipline in the game. I knew how to interact with people in the game by learning the game. Number 2 is competence. Sports has the power to harness also education. I have a brother of mine blood brother who got a scholarship in Strathmore because of sports. So sports, if you harnessed together with education, has the power to transform society. And number three, number one, I said character. Number two, I said competence. Number three, care. And this is the most important skill that we get in the field, because most of the time 844 breeds people who are very high in IQ, lawyers, doctors, but with very low EQ. They don't know how to interact with other people, and that is where I think psychologists, we come in that we teach you how to also relate with other people, how to care for other people, how to value other people. And that is why my brother here was saying that every child's brain asks themselves two questions: am I safe? Am I loved? So you have to create that space within you. I think I'll finish from there. My parting shot would be, for those of you who have children or brothers, because I deal with teens, talent pays. In as much as education pays, talent also pays. In my society and in where I come from, and also in the experience I've gained through the field and through sports, it is what pays me now more than even education, but they collaborate. So they do not compete, do not put competition between education and talent and sports. They complement each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Before the TED Talks, when you hear the African drums, they have only two meanings. One is yeah?
Wedding.
Wedding and death. Yeah, it's wedding or there's death, isn't it?
So we summarize quickly.
This one is for wedding. Cake. Party. So
yeah, okay, thank you. I'll say that I've been a practitioner, a beneficiary of sports for development. I agree with you. There are those instances. And we have many examples myself. I have many references to all those unfortunate incidences of people who participated in the activities. But as first as I said, the ones who are in the sports for development and they are engaged and they are following the rules, they are being guided by the rules and the policies. Then if they are found to be doing that, the rules applied and they should be sidelined and something like that. Yeah. So within the organized structure of sports for development, you expect that there is order. Yeah. Now, secondly, I would say that leadership is brought out in sports for development programs, because as a player, you are participating, you're working with your teammates. You can become a captain. Then you're organizing your team. You become a coach. Like I was a player, and also as a coach of my team, my younger siblings and neighbors. I had my own team. So that's how MISA works. Those who are 16 years have under 12s, and they're 18s and so the leadership skills are developed. And then on top of that, we have new role models in the community. There are those bad examples, but also in the communities that sports for development organizations exist, we have big names, especially like in MISA, we had all these big names, I don't know, Kimanzi, you can mention them. There was a time the national team was like 9 players, MISA, So I think the positives kind of outweigh the negatives in the sense that whole community, as I said in my research, psychological impact of the community itself, that it doesn't see itself as Madare that was mentor cases and Changa and all that. It's more of we are winners, we are being recognized for this and this. And that may not translate in physical structures, but inwardly someone can have a spring in their work because they have a neighbor who is on TV, they have a friend, a classmate and all that. So I think these sports for development has an impact on social economy of Africa. I think I'm an example, having gone through it myself. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully we are saving the best for last.
Yes, certainly.
Anyway, I will start off from just another point of what the elder generation has taught us. And one thing that I try to keep up is that failing to plan is planning to fail. So I believe that social change and any influence on social economy has to be intentional, has to have been planned. I will give an example. on 25th of May is World Football Day. University of Nairobi will be organizing a football tournament on football for the goals, and each team with its own sustainable development goal. But it made a call and there were 1,000 applicants, but only 17 could be chosen. And from the 17, only around 5 or 4 are actually playing competitive football. People just say that they are making social change, but they say it on social media. We don't get to the ground. When the people on the ground now don't plan for that social change, they don't plan inclusive of the social economy. So that's my rallying call to all of us, that in all things that we are doing for sports for development to influence our social economy, then it has to be intentional and it has to be planned, and we have to have mechanism of checking our progress in every step that we make. Thank you, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Allow me to bring to close this conversation, but it continues because it's still a long process for us. It's not going to end today. But most importantly, that sports for development has participants. It does not have players. Sports for development has participants. It doesn't have players. We only have players in football, or they have players in different competitive sports. So if you're a player, you are competitive. If you're a participant, you are in for development agenda. And I think that has been very key to us to this afternoon, that's what's coming out, that we need to look at in our designing of our programs, that we're using sports for development, then we have participants. We can account for the participant because they are able to go through the program. As Murimi said, then we are deliberate and intentional design for that. And that's key for us this particular afternoon, that sports is and has the power to soften our hearts, to discipline our minds, and to prepare us for the future of this particular Africa, but only when we design it. And I'll give you an example as we close. We use Football 3 as a strategy. And Football 3 has 5 players, 3 girls, 2 boys in the same team. Or 3 girls, 2 boys, or 2 boys, 3 girls in the same team. And there's no referee in that particular game. They play with the rules. They are set themselves. And that's interesting. And they decide how they want to celebrate the scores and how to celebrate the win or the loss of each other. And one important value that is there, also part of the MISA member and others have accommodated, is that when you win a match, you still get fair play points. You still get fair play. And fair play are more important than winning the game. And when young people start realizing, oh, fair play is more important, because you get the same points. You win one game, you get 3 points. You go for a fair play, you get the same 3 points. So you can realize that sometimes you play a game, you have won, the other team has also won the fair play. So naturally, we induce a draw in this place. And it's given by the players themselves, not by the coaches. Second thing that is clear in this particular conversation is that the adults play a big role in the development of the young people. And I think, doctors, the research shows that, fairly, that the coaches, the mentors, whoever accompany the young people, they have a big role to play. They are role modeling. And that's why in sports for development, we invest heavily in the coach development, because those are the people young people are looking up to define certain trends in them. I want to invite you for tomorrow, where we have another panel talking again deeper into the social entrepreneurship space of sports for development, and also looking at the media and the role of media has done, and some section of the research also done in terms of the government. What is the stakeholders' engagement in terms of sports and strategies? So I'll invite you for that tomorrow. For now, I will ask you to rise up and ask Edna, please. tutazawidi the facilitators here. Zawadi chukua moja, zawidi mtu. Madam Jo. Jo nisaidie pia kuzawidi hawa facilitators. Please. Yeah, we can all get to the center, take a picture together. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Jo, umempa na unakaa hapo kwa sababu kuna ingine moja. Yeah, unamzawidi eh? Very good. Okay. Yeah, you can take a good photo is good. A good photo is good.
Okay.
If that works.
You're shaking hands?
Yeah, you can shake hands. You can shake kalegi kidogo. Kamera inachukua hizo. Asante. Thanks so much. I will invite you now to go back. We go back to the hall for the closing ceremony for the day. Asante.